Hello, I'm Matu Jamir and you're watching the Hornbill TV's English News Bulletin. Now, headlines. A Philippine Air Force C-130 aircraft carrying troops crashed in a southern province after missing the runway Sunday, killing at least 17 military personnel, while at least 40 were rescued from the burning wreckage, officials said. A day after Centre dispatched expert teams to 6 states, including Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh and Tripura in the northeast, where COVID-19 cases were rising, the Ministry of Development of Northeast region said that cases in all states in the region except Meghalaya were showing progressive decline in the test positivity rate. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has written to Prime Minister Narendra Modi asking that Bharat Ratna be given to the Indian doctors this year. This, he said, would include doctors, nurses and paramedics. Pushkar Singh Dhami on Sunday took oath as the 11th Chief Minister of Uttarakhand at Raj Bhavan a day after he was elected as the leader of the BJP Legislature Party. A day after the Centre dispatched expert teams to 6 states including Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh and Tripura in the northeast, where COVID-19 cases were rising, the Ministry of Development of Northeast region said that cases in all states in the region except Meghalaya were showing progressive decline in the test positivity rate.
Development of Northeast Region Minister Jitendra Singh, who chaired the meeting of senior officials of all 8 northeastern states including Sikkim on Saturday, noted that the second wave took a huge toll in the region before showing an overall decline trend since early June, even as some pockets continue to cause concern. Assam, the most populous state in the region, saw a sharp rise in COVID-19 cases in April, soon after the assembly polls ended. Around 3,500 to 4,000 new cases and around 80 to 90 deaths were recorded daily in May on an average. The TBR also hovered between 8% and 9%. However, containment measures such as curfew and ban on inter-district movement since mid-May helped in bringing down the numbers.
Pushkar Singh Dhami on Sunday took oath as the 11th Chief Minister of Uttarakhand at Raj Bhavan a day after he was elected as the leader of the BJP Legislature Party.
Governor Baby Rani Maurya administered the oath to Dhami, the two-time MLA from the Kumaon region, Khatima constituency, who announced his name for the office in a meeting held at the BJP headquarters on Saturday. Dhami is taking over the top post ahead of the state assembly elections due next year. BJP MLAs Satbal Maharaj, Harak Singh Rawat, Pansitar Pakat and Yashpal Arya also took oath as ministers in the new state cabinet. Dhami has twice been the president of the BJP youth wing in the Hill state, as he served as the state chief of the Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha from 2002 to 2006. Dhami is considered close to Bhagat Singh Koshari, a former chief minister and currently the governor of Maharashtra and Goa. The 45-year-old leader's image has been that of an undisputed leader. However, it is not going to be easy for Dhami to carry out the role of CM in Uttarakhand, having to adjust with the senior MLAs as well as the bureaucracy. His lack of experience in heading a government may also prove to be a roadblock. According to News 18, sources said earlier that there would be no change in the state cabinet. They also said that Union Home Minister Amit Shah had spoken to senior ministers unhappy with Dhami's election.
The proprietor of a local firm MS Multibuilders, Howoto Jakhalu, recently donated 25 B-type oxygen cylinders to the Zaniboto District COVID Hospital and 10 cylinders to the Suruhoto Sub-Center.
The cylinders were handed over to the medical superintendent of the district hospital, Dr. C. Yanbo Gitan, by K. Hui, president of the Suruhoto unit of Nationalist Democratic Progressive Party, and Giketo Muru, president of the ZCCI and ZAPO, and Shihoto, GP of Alahudo colony. The medical superintendent expressed gratitude to the donors for providing the cylinders, as they are the need at this juncture, and added that the donation will go into saving many lives in the future. K. Hui welcomed conveying the message of the proprietor of MS Multibuilders, said that the people are all together in this fight against the deadly virus and that the donated oxygen could help someone breathe to life.
Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma on Saturday said the state is striving for an amicable solution to border disputes with neighbouring states and noted the Chief Secretaries of Assam and Mizoram will hold a meeting in the national capital on July 9.
Sarma said at a press conference, as long as the dispute remains, there was a possibility of issues erupting and it needs mature handling. Unfortunately, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Nagaland and Mizoram have border disputes with Assam, he said. As long as this dispute remains, there will be some issues that will keep on erupting on both sides, he said. Thus, it needs mature handling and the process of handling the issue has been started, he said. We are defending the borders very firmly at the same time talking to the counter states for some amicable solution, he said. Assam and Mizoram have a long pending dispute concerning their borders. The Chief Minister had said earlier that resolving border disputes among sister states was an important objective of his government.
Nearly 150 citizens have been assisted with receiving COVID-19 vaccines till date since the Kohima District Congress COVID Sevak was formed on June 17.
The opposition party said, according to documents available now, huge amounts of money were paid to middlemen in the deal, indicating that it was a vindication of its corruption allegations against Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his government. The party had even hinged its campaign on the issue in the 2019 general elections, a strategy that many later said backfired. The controversy over the mega deal resurfaced yesterday with the Congress seeking a joint parliamentary committee investigation after a news website reported that a French judge had been appointed to lead a highly sensitive judicial probe into alleged corruption and favoritism in the deal with India. The 2016 deal was for the sale of 36 Dassault built fighter jets, and a mocking tweet posted in Hindi today. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi asked why Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government wasn't ready for a JPC probe.
A Philippine Air Force C-130 aircraft carrying troops crashed in a southern province after missing the runway Sunday, killing at least 17 military personnel while at least 40 were rescued from the burning wreckage, officials said.
Defense Secretary Delphine Lorenzana said rescue efforts are ongoing. He said the aircraft had 92 people on board, including 3 pilots and 5 crew. The rest were Army personnel. The Lockheed C-130 Hercules was one of 2 ex-US Air Force aircraft handed over to the Philippines as part of military assistance this year. It crashed on landing shortly before noon Sunday in Pangal village in the mountainous town of Patikul in Sulu province, Chief of Staff General Cirilito Sobijana said. The plane was transporting troops from southern Cagayan de Oro city, Sobijana said. Government forces have been battling Abu Sayyaf militants in the predominantly Muslim province of Sulu for decades. It was not immediately clear what caused the crash. Sobijana said at least 40 people on board were brought to a hospital and troops were trying to save the rest. It has been raining in the central Philippines, but it was not immediately clear if the weather in the Sulu region has been affected.
A new study by the Indian Council of Medical Research has revealed that neutralizing antibodies against the Delta variant of coronavirus were not found in 16% of serum samples from those who have received both doses of the Covishield vaccine and 58.1% of those who were given the first shot.
The study on recipients of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine Covishield, which is being produced by the Serum Institute of India, is yet to be peer-reviewed. Not observed is not equivalent to not present. The Hindustan Times quoted Dr. T. Jacob John, former head of the Department of Microbiology at Christian Medical College, Vellore. The levels of neutralizing antibodies could be significantly low that it did not get detected, but it may still be there and protect a person against infection and severe disease, Dr. John said. Also, there would be some cell-mediated protective immunity as well that can protect against infection and severe disease, the Hindustan Times quoted Dr. John. It was further found that the titers of the neutralizing antibodies that particularly target the SARS-CoV-2 virus and destroy it or prevent it from entering human cells were also lower against the Delta variant in comparison to the B1 variant that was behind the first wave in India. The comparison with B1 variant revealed that those who had received one shot had 78% lower neutralizing antibody titers against the Delta variant, 69% less in those who received two shots, 66% in those who had the infection and received one shot, and 38% in those who had the infection and received both shots. The study indicates that some people in India might require an additional booster shot of Covishield, while those who have previously contracted the disease may require just one.
The Pakistan Federal Union of Journalists has called for a countrywide protest on Monday against the adoption of the controversial Punjab Assembly Privilege Bill 2021, which envisages a word of punishment to journalists over the publication of reports about the proceedings of the Assembly and its committees.
The call was given by PFUJ President Shahzada Zulfikar and Secretary General Nasir Zaidi through a statement in which they called all Union of Journalists to organize rallies and hoist black flags at press clubs to protest against the brutal piece of law, reported Dawn. The union argued that the bill would undermine the freedom of the press by awarding 3-month imprisonment or a fine of ₹10,000 or both for publishing any report on the proceedings or a report of a committee before it was reported to the Assembly. The PFUJ has condemned what it called the insulting treatment received by journalists in Quetta by the police and the fascist tactics employed by the Balochistan provincial government to prevent the media from covering a press conference of opposition leaders in the city, Dawn reported. Zulfikar and Zaidi said the sledgehammer tactics against the journalists would not be tolerated at any cost and called upon the Balochistan government to take steps against the undemocratic action. Various journalist groups and unions from Pakistan have announced a rally outside the governor's house in the Punjab province on Friday to protest against the controversial bill, calling it anti-democratic. The bill has the support of all the government and opposition parties, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, Pakistan Muslim League and Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz. Freedom of the press has long been a problem in Pakistan, but the situation has deteriorated markedly under Imran Khan, who has dismissed allegations of attacks on the Pakistan press as a joke. The International Federation of Journalists has ranked Pakistan the 5th most dangerous place for the practice of journalism, with 138 media persons there having lost their lives in the line of duty between 1990 and 2020.
The Israeli Air Force on Saturday attacked targets in Gaza in response to the incendiary balloons launched from the Gaza Strip throughout the weekend, Israeli media reported.
Israel Defense Forces aircraft attacked a Hamas rocket launching pad and weapons manufacturing facility following a bushfire that broke out on Saturday afternoon in the Ashkol Regional Council near the Gaza border, reported the Jerusalem Post. A spokesperson for Israel Fire and Rescue Services reported that the fire was caused by an incendiary balloon launched from Gaza. This is the second time this week that the IAF has targeted Gaza. On Thursday, an IAF aircraft struck a Hamas weapons manufacturing facility in Gaza, reported the Jerusalem Post. Tensions have been rising this week after Israel demolished a Palestinian shop in the East Jerusalem neighborhood of Silwan on Tuesday, triggering clashes between police and protesters who accused authorities of discriminatory enforcement of building permits in the Holy City, reported the Jerusalem Post.
The Srinagar administration on Sunday prohibited the sale, possession and use of unmanned aerial vehicles in the city a week after a drone attack on Air Force Base in Jammu.
Keeping in view the security situation, apart from concerns of breach of privacy, nuisance and trespass, it is extremely dangerous to let unmanned aerial vehicles wander around in the skies within the territorial jurisdiction of District Srinagar, the order said. The district magistrate imposed restrictions or ban on the storage, sale or possession, use and transport of drones, similar kinds of unmanned aerial vehicles in the city. Persons already having the drone cameras or similar kind of unmanned aerial vehicles in their possession shall ground the same in the local police stations under proper receipt, the order said. In the aftermath of the terror incident last Sunday, officials in the Jammu region's border districts of Rajouri and Kathua imposed restrictions on the use of drones and other unmanned aerial vehicles. 2 explosives-laden drones had crashed into the Indian Air Force station at Jammu airport, and there were other suspicious sightings of UAVs, triggering a security alert. In the order, Deputy Commissioner of Srinagar, Mohammed Aijaz, directed those having drones, cameras or other similar kinds of unmanned aerial vehicles to deposit them in local police stations.
The use of face masks as protection against coronavirus will become a matter of personal choice as the UK leaves legal lockdowns measures in place later this month, a cabinet minister said on Sunday.
Housing Secretary Robert Chenrick said that there will be a move towards greater personal responsibility as the UK prepares to end lockdown restrictions from July 19. His comments came as several UK media reports on Sunday indicated that Prime Minister Boris Johnson is preparing to declare an end to compulsory face masks and other measures during the course of the next week. It does look as if, thanks to the success of the vaccine program, that we now have the scope to roll back those restrictions and return to a normality as far as possible, Jenrick told the BBC. The country now has to move into a different period where the citizens learn to live with the virus and take precautions, and people as individuals take personal responsibility, he said. When asked if the requirement to wear face masks in certain settings will definitely go, he added that he can't make that commitment this morning because the Prime Minister will make an announcement in the coming days, and it does look if the data is in the right place. In an interview with Sky News, the Cabinet Minister said that, like many people, he wants to get away from the restrictions as quickly as possible.
The Arvind Kejriwal-led Aam Aadmi Party government in the national capital on Sunday further relaxed the lockdown in Delhi, allowing stadiums and sport complexes to reopen from July 5th without spectators.
However, the Kejriwal government said that cinema halls, theatres, multiplexes, auditoriums, swimming pools, spas and amusement parks will continue to stay closed. All schools, colleges and educational institutions will also remain closed, it noted. The order issued by the Delhi Disaster Management Authority further said that all kinds of social and political gatherings would continue to remain prohibited in the national capital. The restrictions on metro services will also continue, despite the huge rush and long queues that were seen outside several stations over the past few days. A complete lockdown was imposed in Delhi in April this year to control the unprecedented spike in Delhi COVID-19 cases after India got hit by the second wave of the pandemic. However, the lockdown is being lifted in a phased manner from June after a consistent decline in daily COVID-19 cases and positivity rate of the national capital.
That's all we have for tonight's English News Bulletin, and also for other updates, please do follow us on our social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and YouTube at HornbillTV Official.